the political winds have changed, and there is many indications after both this election and the presidential election, depending on what happens in the election, we're in for a significant turnover in leadership. Some people are calling it the purge.
It's not so much that the president's going to be different. It's going to be that the people that make government work are going to be different.
Right. So we have a couple things happening at once. We have turnover in federal leadership. We have turnover in business leadership, media leadership, state and local leadership. We know across the country there is an unprecedented number of indictments under seal. We know we have an executive order for military tribunals. And we've seen a whole lot of people retiring. You know, you get the feeling they're going with the indictment saying, you know, Mr. Smith, you can be indicted or you can resign. Which would you prefer?
Or you can rat.
Or you can rat. Because it looks like some people are ratting. And of course, the more who rat, the more interesting the purge gets. So here's the question that we don't know the answer to. Is this a purge of the swamp? Is one faction purging another? Are we just clearing out the people who engineered the financial coup and globalization, who we don't need anymore? We need to bring in a new team for a fresh phase.
Getting rid of the liabilities.
Yeah, getting rid of the liabilities. So anybody has a memory of what went on during the financial coup and knows where the money, just get rid of it.
Yeah, we need to wipe the slate clean for a whole new episode of criminality.
Right. So I, for one, don't think the swamp will be drained. I just think the swamp is ready to cull the herd and move on to the next phase.
You're open.
I'm open. I'm willing for this to work out well. You know, there's certainly a lot of people with criminal liability. And when you get that kind of significant turnover, you know, you get into a very wild kind of environment. Everybody listening to this, you know, we all live someplace. How that purge is going to come down is going to affect everybody differently, but it's going to impact our lives. So something else that's new is we've seen building for many years, but it's coming to a whole fruition of the ability of the leadership to mind control, not just attack the population and weaken it, but mind control the population and literally turn the general population into a weapon.
Yeah, at a minimal level, kind of a stimulus response approach.
Right.
But we think it's even deeper than that.
Right. So we just saw in the Kavanaugh hearings embracing by a significant number of people in the population to throw out due process and agree to treat somebody based on the fact that they're a metaphor, not an individual. You know, so it's no longer Brett Kavanaugh. He's a metaphor for this.
Rapist.
Right. This thing, whatever this thing is. Privileged people, you know, privileged men, you know, on and on and on. But he's a metaphor, and you've got to treat the metaphor. What happens to Brett is determined by how you feel about the metaphor, as opposed to the facts that relate to him and his individual case in history.
Or, you know, I'm prepared to throw out the Constitution as long as I'm treated decently.
Right. Right. And so...
And this guy doesn't treat people decently, therefore we should get rid of due process and you know, innocent before proven guilty and on and on.
One of the things, you know, that's really scared me about the QAnon phenomena is I see a whole world of people who are frustrated and angry about the corruption being prepared to attack whoever Q says is a bad guy. And so that population can be used to attack innocent people. And you know, I got into a squabble with one group of people who said the deep state is the SES system, which is a joke. And, you know, but that population is being prepared to attack the SES system, I believe, not to drain the swamp, but to make sure the oligarchs can privatize everything they want, because the SES are standing in the way of that.
The bureaucracy is not the deep state.
Right.